Okay, this is my newest acquisition here. This is a bit of an oddball, a bit of a departure from the C4 stuff that I've been into lately. This car just kind of fell into my lap. Uh, just kind of disregard the presentation right now. I'm digging into this thing a little bit. So, backstory on this car. I was browsing Facebook, and we have local pages, community pages, whatever. Someone had found a lost dog. Well, in that picture, I could see about maybe that much car in the background, behind the dog there, and I could identify it just from the wheel style as a Spitfire. And so I asked the person there. So there's a Spitfire. Says, "Oh yeah." I said, "Oh yeah, I saw someone the other day driving one." She's like, "Oh no, it wasn't me. This one just sits. It's my husband's project car. He's not really getting it done or whatever, and it's just kind of sitting. We move it just to really just to get the mower in and out." So I just continued to chit chat, and then she said, "Well, we'd be looking to sell, maybe." And I said, "Well, I'm prone to bad decisions, and I'll buy any car if the price is right. It doesn't really matter what it is. It's a problem, I can't help it." So this Spitfire, that's the backstory. Anyway, I go look at the car, I buy it. It's a 78, so it's kind of end of the run. This would have been a 1500cc originally. It's got the big bumpers, American spec. Sits really goofy high in the front and low in the back, and I think that was all kind of regulation stuff at the time for the United States. Rules regarding bumper height and stuff like that. You can see it's got the rubber bumpies on the front. Anyhow, 78 Spitfire. Someone has completely omitted the windshield wipers, any inside door handles or windows on the side, and any provisions for a roof. And then they installed this roll bar that would probably protect you if you ducked. The gas tank is literally a small air compressor tank. I'm going to assume I don't know, it might be 5 gallons. Believe it or not, it's got autometer gauges that work. They're actually pretty decent little gauges. They all function. Even the gas tank. So it'll read a quarter of a tank, which is like, I don't know, a gallon. Anyhow, what makes this car kind of odd and interesting beyond that is the engine. So at some point, someone swapped out the 1500cc 53 horse unit for this Ford 2.3. Could have been from a Pinto or maybe an early Fox body Mustang. 79 to, geez, they used carb 2.3s all the way through 86. So hard to say. It's got a Holley 350 CFM 2-barrel on it. Some kind of weird, really thick plastic spacer. And that might be OEM shit. They might have used these on Ford. I know I've had other Ford products with Holley carburetors. Anyhow, some of the wiring, not real cute. Most of that's gauges and stuff. But yeah, so originally the car would have had about 53 horse, 80 foot-pounds of torque or so out of the Spitfire 1500. The car weighs stock about 1,700 pounds or so. With all the stuff taken out of this car, probably quite a bit lighter. I don't know, 1550 maybe. It did have seats in it. I think they were from a late model Mustang. I've pulled the interior out. Rodent urine, just disgusting. The most disgusting smell. I pulled everything out and I just soaked it with like bleach spray for now until I can get the rest out, just to keep the odor manageable. So yeah, it's a Pinto or a Mustang 2.3. Custom header there, ultimate fab work. It's not that bad. Better than I could do. Might be a modified version of some other vehicle, or I don't know. There's a lot of circle track junk for these. Big aluminum radiator with an electric fan that actually does have a trigger temperature switch on it. No radiator overflow tank as of right now. I gotta look into some stuff still on this thing. I haven't cracked the radiator open yet. I did check the oil. I didn't have brakes. I drove it home anyway. Downshifting to slow down. Don't do that. I bled the fronts. The fronts work. It's got new calipers. and rotors in the front. It also came with new drums and stuff for the rear. He said it had a leak in one of the rear lines. I don't see anything. I'm going to try to bleed the rears here soon and see if I've got all 4 brakes. But as of now, I got fronts. So yeah, this thing went from, sorry, I keep getting off topic, 50 horse, 80 torque or so. This engine might maybe weigh 100 pounds more. The transmission's probably a little bit heavier too. I don't know, maybe 120 pounds added, so maybe years makes no difference for the windows and stuff and the roof that are gone. It's probably still about 1,700 pounds. This engine makes about 90 horse and 120 foot-pounds of torque, so it's quite a bit more powerful. A lot of torque. 4,500 RPM, 5,000 RPM engine. Yeah, it's got a good amount of grunt. It's a Ford 4-speed. Some kind of a Borg Warner. I don't think it's a T4. I'm not 100% sure on what transmissions they use throughout the years. The dash is also a custom unit. It looks like someone lasered it, or maybe they did it by hand out of a sheet of aluminum. They did a pretty good job. Doesn't look bad. The car is really solid. It's really solid. I mean, the floors aren't even bad. The car is in better shape. I had a Spitfire once, never had it running years ago. I've had a couple midgets, one that ran, one that didn't, and this is actually probably the most solid of all 4. You know, all the way around. So, but it is definitely, it's still equally sketchy as all the other ones. Timing was a little bit out. It was like 15 degrees. Baseline, I put it at 10. Played with the carburetor. The idle mixture was way off. The float setting was way low. And the accelerator pump setting was also way off. I mean, it was way down. I can't really show you very well, but it was half engaged all the time. It was just all out of whack, you know. It was someone's project that just didn't get done. So I don't know what the origins of it are. I don't know if someone, I can't imagine any sanctioning body would allow you to race this thing. It's sketchy. It's very sketchy. But maybe that was someone's intention, because they didn't go towards a street car, that's for sure. I mean, there's no radio, there's no heat, there's no windows, there's no wipers. But, you know, with that said, this thing is basically a tractor. I mean, this is a machine in the essence. There's not much to fail here. You've got ignition wiring. And you got your lights. I mean, there's nothing here. So real simple. I'm just making this video because I think this thing is cool as hell. It's pretty quick. I haven't got a chance to drive it since I dialed the carburetor in, because I had pulled the interior out. And I've got to find some seats. I don't know if anybody sees this and has a suggestion on what seats might fit this car, or a cheap place to get seats, and I mean cheap. Didn't pay a lot of money for this car. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm into it for $400. So crazy good deal. Not looking to spend more than $100 on seats, that's for sure. I really don't want to have any more than, I don't know, $600 or $700 in it. And I don't know if it'll even really see the road. I've got a lot of property here. It might become a little rally car. I'm not really sure yet. I guess for the few subscribers that I do have and the people that watch, if you have any suggestions on directions to go for this, or if you've played with them and you have any input on what I could do to this thing to make it more fun for cheap, or any kind of cheap upgrades, or if you're familiar with the Ford 2.3 and you have suggestions on things I should add to this or do to it, or that I should check for you know, longevity, maintenance, anything, please let me know. I've never really played with a Spitfire that ran, and I've never really played with the Ford 2.3, so there will be some learning here, but I'm hoping to be able to present this thing as a pretty cool vehicle here soon. I should have took a video before I started digging into it. It also has a really cool bulge here, and that's for the air cleaner that sits on top of the carb. It's actually a functional vent. You can see the cleaner when you're up through it. I believe it's a piece of a Triumph GT6 hood that would have been in the center, way forward to give provisions for the inline six that those hardtop GT6 cars had, and then it's grafted into this hood. Little bit of Bondo's crack in there, but they grafted it offset. Maybe it was a Triumph guy that built it, and they put some bracing around it. I mean, they did a pretty decent job putting it together in that regard. It's just kind of unfinished, so I don't know, anybody who watches this or is interested in these cars, if you've got any suggestions for improvements or directions to go, or what seats that you know might fit this thing well. Thinking maybe C4 Corvette. They're really comfortable, and I think they're narrow enough maybe to fit. The track width will have to be 17 inches or less. It is a narrow car. Yeah, but this is the new project, so I don't know, you might see something cool. Maybe I'll post another couple videos of this thing once it's put back together and I can rip it around the yard or something stupid and post it for your enjoyment, and you can see how silly quick it is for what it is. But alright, wish me luck with this thing. Thanks.